Welcome everyone back to another episode of Real Estate Deli. I'm your host Mando, Money Making Mando on IG. We're here with another episode where we cut through all the noise and deliver actionable insight and make the information the star. And today we have Brenda Villafranco, our friend from Houston. Brenda, introduce yourself. Tell us what you're up to.
Thank you so much, Mando, for having me. I am a short-term transactional lender. I also do some private money lending as well too. Although I've kind of shifted more to the short-term transactional
Oh,
lending,
yeah.
such as EMDs, double closes. So that's kind of I had that shift like in the summer. Just shifted because I had some private money lending deals and my funds were tied up. So I was like, you know what? What else can I do? And that's kind of how that shifted, to be honest. It wasn't anything I really planned on doing.
Okay. And were you always interested in real estate or lending? What drove you to do this?
Honestly, pace drove
Oh
me
yeah.
to do this. Yeah. So I was never interested in real estate. My background is healthcare. I'm a
Okay.
nurse. That's been my background since out of college. And I've done that. My specialty was emergency room nursing. And then I just climbed up the ladder, went and got my master's. And now I look at the operations of the hospital. And I've been doing that for about 6 years. And that's what I do full time.
Shout out to all the nurses. My wife's a nurse actually, and she's working on her master's as well in
I appreciate
psychology,
that. Which
psychiatric. She's in the psych with the,
that takes
you
a
know,
special person. That definitely
yeah.
takes a special person to do something like that.
Oh my God, I've learned that when like said med surg nurses and stuff like that, like they transfer over to like on the psych side, they really can't handle it.
Yeah.
It's something that's in you or is not. And she kind of
Mhm.
she uh she was like a secretary and stuff like that prior in the psych unit, so I think she was better prepared to handle that because she was
Oh
already
yeah.
kind of in the
She had the
system.
experience.
Yeah, she had that experience, that background, so it was kind of not an easy but an easier transition where she can handle that. Actually, she not that loves that side of the business of healthcare, but she prefers that than bedside or ER, so she's found her niche. So I always appreciate nurses. Is a brings me a warm sensation to my heart. They doing that hard work out there. So
That's
yes,
awesome.
I love that. So how was it? You was on Pace? You were online or something, and he just came up to in your feed or something?
Yeah, so he basically Instagram algorithm just started giving me some real estate things, and I started binging to Bigger Pockets, and the Bigger
Okay.
Pockets at that time was releasing Pace's book, Wealth Without Cash,
Yes.
and I started following him from there. From then, I had seen he spoke about private money lending, and that caught my attention. So then I was like, oh, maybe I can do something like this on the side. Let me try it out. And that's whenever I got exposed to like the community, and it's been life changing ever since. It's been what, a year? It's been a year and like a month, and it's been a really great time, to be honest. I never thought I'd be even close to doing something with real estate or anything like that. So
No, that's a great opportunity, and it's awesome that he appeared on your feed. That that you were able to listen to that whisper. Sometimes messages come along in our lives, and we don't pay mind to it. And that's awesome that you actually clicked. And it kind of happened to me as well. Well, I learned about the community first through Jamil, uh,
okay.
and then Jamil was the kind of I was introduced into the community. I was actually Astro. I'm actually Astro. So
Okay, so
then
you
Pace just Oh yeah, I joined Astro in 2020.
got it.
So then Pace, this guy with the hat, with this started appearing on my feeds, and all I did was swipe away and kept swiping. And then one day I was like, let me see what this is about, because enough is enough. So I said, I gotta check it out. And I was like, what are you doing? What are you? And then I joined. I think it was a webinar or something, and it was off to the races. I joined immediately. I joined Gator, and I was like, oh man, we're in here now. And
Yeah.
I've kind of always been a lender, let's say, so that was very familiar with that stuff. So
I remember I spoke with you briefly, like outside of this podcast, and you mentioned like you pretty much have always been a lender, just in your own way, right? Like you
correct. Yeah, it was something. Again, I learned a lot of the business through my mother. Like I was telling you earlier, I learned real estate lending, all this stuff. I'm just like I said, I've learned it through my mom. But yeah, once you join, it opens up so many opportunities if you implement, right?
Yes,
Once you implement,
absolutely.
you have the ability to grow. So how's been the experience? What, I'm sure when you join, you're looking, where do I fit in? What do I do, right? Because you were kind of new, like, so what were your thoughts when you first joined, and what was your first plunge into the game?
My first initial thoughts were, okay, let's get to work. Like, let me go ahead and do all of the instructions, the videos. Let me see how. I didn't know a lot of the real estate vocabulary because I wasn't familiar with it. So for me, it was literally like starting from scratch. And
Yeah.
so I was like, okay, let me watch the videos. And then after 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks of watching the videos, I was like, okay, I'm feeling better about it. I did my notes. So let me start networking now. And so I just started like reaching out to people and just seeing like, okay, let me see how I can network, how their journey is going. And that's all I really wanted. I wanted to just listen to their journey, what their experience has been so far. And that led me into opening doors to start doing some deals within the community. And so that's how I got my first deal. So I ended up getting my first deal within the month. And from after that, it's been pretty much a, you know, learning you. And then it just comes back down and goes back high. And then you meet someone else and it's like, wow, like didn't realize how many great people, amazing people there can be around nationwide. And it's nice to connect. And you can go to a state and you literally, as much as I've networked and connected with people, it's nice. Like if I go to New York, I'd be like, hey, Mando, I'll be in New York. Like maybe we should grab coffee. You know what I mean? So it's always really cool to see that there's someone in your network that you've been introduced to and you can always meet up with them if whatever state you're in. So that's always been nice.
Yeah, I love that part about the community. Like you just said that you can travel and you can connect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of everywhere now. And I've been mindful of that because I believe I'll be doing some traveling soon, and I'm going to some specific cities, which I kind of have relationships with people already. So I totally hear that. I'm with that. And your first deal, can you tell us a little bit what type of deal it was? What were the terms and how was it?
My first deal was a private money lending deal. It was more on the short term side, which is kind of the rare side. You don't see those as often.
Okay.
This was basically a $66,000 deal, 12% for 60 days.
Oh,
Yeah. So see, even you're like, wait, why is it so short? Yeah. So
yeah.
those deals usually are 4 to 6 months. This
Yeah.
was a rare occasion. They just needed to, I think it was like, if I can remember, because it was like a year ago, it was basically the city, the permits, they needed all of that, the closing costs, all of that covered. And so I would be coming in, and then by the time they refi out, that's how they would pay me out.
Okay.
That's pretty much exactly what happened. It was my first time doing that deal, but I had also reached out within the community for like help. Look at the deal for me. Does it seem like something that could be good, or is it something that could be bad? And
Yeah.
so it turned out the green light. And so I went ahead and did it. And within 60 days, I got my money back and my return.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
a great way to kick off a new business, right? That you're able to leverage relationships in the community, that you can vet the deal, right? And put you kind of at ease, not all the way at ease, but kind of say, okay, we're going in the right direction. I got some confirmation.
for sure.
So now is that execute it and wait, right? So I'm
Yeah.
sure
The
that was
most
yeah.
the most nerve-wracking part was really like wiring the money.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
because like Chase, Bank of America, they don't make it any better either. When you're wiring your money, they're like, "Are you sure this isn't a scam?" And then
Oh
you're
my
kind of like, "Dang, is it?" And then it makes you like start double thinking and overthinking, and then you're like, "Okay, no, you've already called. You've literally got wire confirmation. Like it's fine." And so you
for
send it off,
sure.
and they receive it. And after that, I
Yeah.
think for the first two times, I was a little bit like, "Okay." Now I'm just like, whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's just like a
Yeah.
habit.
Yeah, you're an old hat now, an old pro. But yeah, first of all, I like to tell people I think cardinal rule number one, never transfer money into other people's personal accounts or LLCs. That's for me is cardinal rule number one. Always
Mhm.
protect your money, have your money in escrow where it's kind of where it is safe, because if you deposit it or wire money into someone's account or LLC, good luck. And I tell you that with experience. So
Yeah,
be mindful of that, everyone.
for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. So now you said you've had a couple of deals. How many deals have you done in a year?
I've done 10 private money lending deals and I've
Awesome.
done 10 EMDs. So
Oh,
I'm
you're
hoping.
full fledged. You're a full fledged lender. You got your stripes.
No, I'm actually still learning because, I feel like every deal is different, right? So even
Yes.
like a deal yesterday, right? I had a EMD. Someone called me, they referred me, and they reached out to me and they said, "Hey, I need $7,200 and some change." And I said, "Okay, like, are you the wholesaler?" And they're like, "Yes, I'm wholesaling it. I already have an in buyer." I'm like, "Oh, cool. Like, this should be pretty smooth, right?"
Sure.
And so after gathering all the information, it turns out that the in buyer didn't want to put his non refundable EMD. And so I was like, oh, that's a problem. So the way I get paid out is by your in buyer putting in the EMD. And if you're not going to put, if your in buyer's not going to do that, then there's no point in me wiring it. He's like, oh, but my inspection period was over at 5 p.m. yesterday. So I was like, no, like there needs to be some kind of extension, maybe
Yes.
maybe a few days for your in buyer can get it together, whatever he needs to do. Like if you're so sure that this in buyer is going to come in and purchase this property, and sure enough, 5 p.m. came, no in buyer in sight. And so I didn't ever wire the money because I'm like, no, there was never an in buyer. Even though the in buyer promised him that he was gonna purchase that property. But in reality, it wasn't true because if not, he would have done it.
Yeah, you would think that a savvy wholesaler or just someone who's being cautious of everyone's interest would foresee that situation and say ask for an extension. And once you
Absolutely.
ask for that extension, you feel more comfortable to reach out. And now your lender is not concerned that this money might go hard, right? And you're out of your money because you're kind of rushing.
Right.
That's very
Mhm.
maybe inexperienced, but not well prepared, I would say.
I think a lot of the times too, like we're selfish by nature, right? So we have
Sure.
to like take an awareness of if you want to build good relationships, you have to look at both parties, right? If I'm the borrower or if I'm the wholesaler, I want to make sure that, hey, I want to do business with Brenda again. And in order for me to have that repeated business, then I would take into consideration that, hey, I don't want her money to go hard. I don't want, you know what I mean? But sometimes I've had really great borrowers that actually are very considerate. And then I've had some wholesalers that are not as considerate. All they care about is putting the EMD and that's it. Right. And so it was a bummer. It didn't work out. But in a way, it was like still a blessing because then you go through that process and you get to learn so that you know how to improve the next time. And I think the next time probably will be, hey, before you actually use my website, make sure that A, you have the in buyer, B, like the inspection is not at the same day unless your in buyer already has placed that EMD. And so, a couple lessons there. It's always good to learn.
No, absolutely. Those are where the lessons are found, right? In kind of the struggle where something's not going right, where the turbulence is at, right? Because when
Mhm.
things are fine, they're just fine. You're not concerned about something going wrong. You're winning, let's say, right? So absolutely, it was a blessing that you had that encounter, and then you were able to share it with everyone else. So now we're talking about this situation uh, where you had issues and stuff. What other issues have you encountered in your journey so far? Your struggles, your pitfalls, where you be like, "Dan, what's going on? How do I get out of these situations?" Have you encountered any of that stuff? And what were the lessons learned?
I think a lot of the lessons learned that I've noticed a lot from just lending deals has been communication. It's something like every single deal that I do, I get even tighter and tighter on the communication. And by that, like if I'm doing a private money lending deal, I know that if you're not a borrower that can communicate with me every couple of weeks to tell me the progress of your flip, then I don't want to do business with you. And for some people, that may be okay. Maybe you just need to give them a month of progress or a few months in progress. But I personally want to see the transformation, making sure that my money is put into work and to see how you're going to actually transform this house, right? So each time that I do a deal, I reflect back and say, was this borrower someone that I would do business with again? Would I connect someone with this same borrower? If he's amazing, absolutely. If I think he was okay, then probably not. Will I do business with someone that's okay? Probably not. And that's just my opinion. I mean, it's not that he or she did a bad job. It's just it wasn't up to the standards that I prefer for it.
Yeah. So what would be your criteria or the avatar of a person who's on top of the game and you're considered like a A1 type of person that you would want to have repeat business with?
I actually have a perfect one. And the cool
Period.
thing is he's actually only 25.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I was like, man, you're showing out better than some of these older borrowers. So 25-year-old does fix and flips in Alabama, does an amazing job without me even telling him before I can even say my expectations of communication. He told me he would put me in a Slack channel. And from the Slack channel, he would provide me with videos and pictures of the progress every time he had progress. It wasn't like every 2 weeks. It was just every time he had something new going on within that flip, he would give me progress within the Slack channel and tell me, hey, this is what's going on. The windows at Home Depot are delayed. It'll be another 5 more days. And I was like, oh, cool. Great to know that progress. Literally from the beginning that I wired the money to him to title all the way into the end, the fix and flip was actually going to be for 5 months. And he ended up finishing it within 3 months, which is rare. So then he finished it up in 3 months and he says, hey, next week we're going to put it up on the market. Posted it up on the market, sends me another message on the Slack channel and says, it's up. Go check it out on Zillow. I go and check it out and I'm like, wow, it looks so nice. Like it looks really good. He ended up getting overbid on his offer and it sold within that week. So
That's great to hear. That kind of tells you what type of operator he is, where the business is going. He's just pays attention. I say some people say the devil's in the detail. I said the God is in the detail.
no, for
So
sure. He
that's
was
a go ahead.
no, that was an A plus for me. I didn't have
Yeah,
to tell him anytime. I didn't have to ask him like, hey, what's been going on with the progress? Nope. He automatically, every single time he had progress, he will literally notify me about it. That was A plus to me.
that's a great way to do business. Hopefully, everyone's listening and able to adapt and adjust and be more responsible and mindful to everyone who's involved in the deal. Let's say, right? You
Yeah.
want everyone to be abreast of what's going on, and it just makes the transition easier for everyone to actually know what's going on in real time, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have to follow up. You have other clients and stuff, and this guy's, oh man, I gotta really follow up with this guy. This guy's, geez,
Yeah.
that's
No, it's amazing.
that's super.
Amazing.
That's super. You would always want that type of customer. Let's say.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you find more of those.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I always pay attention when you start building relationships and you see how communicative they are, how detailed they are. That always tells you pretty good signs that they're going to be someone that's going to be good to do business with.
Yeah, I guess you can feel that out in the inception, just the nature of communication that you're just having, maybe getting to know each other. Hey, your emails or a call, if you miss a call or do like
Yeah.
that, you have to be mindful of those little whispers that sometimes we don't listen to, but the answers sometimes lie there, right? And
Yeah.
we
No, for
just and we just kind of overlook that, and he's probably doing something. We might even build some excuses for them, because you might be driven by ego and you're looking for a payout, and you kind of could get caught out there if you're not mindful of that.
No, for sure. And we all know what happens to ego.
Yeah, what
Ego
happens to
kills you. Ego kills you, man.
for real? Yeah, you have to be very mindful of that, especially when you're dealing in business. You have to kind of no is always a great answer, right? People are don't know that no is a deal as well, right?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. Saying no, you don't have to say yes to every single deal. Not every deal is good. As a matter of fact, half of them are pretty bad.
exactly. That's why I always say kind of I've had a trader background as well. So, sometimes you see some trades and stuff like that. And you just like I said, sometimes no is the best answer as well.
Yeah, no,
But
for
let's
sure.
get now into what I call the makings of a hero. Where is it that you want to see your business go or yourself go? How you want to grow your business? Where you envision yourself in the next 3 to 5, 10 years? Your Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Where you want to be at?
Well, my Mount Everest is to really help real estate investors, solid real estate investors that want to improve the community. And if I can be the bank for them, that'd be so amazing because the more I am the bank, the more I can help them. And so my goal is to help scale that part, which is why I do a lot of funding now, is because I'm in essence still helping someone get a house, right? And
Yes.
being able to help them get that sold. I help them on the fix and flips. So for the next 3 years, I'll be working on personal branding. I'll be working on just getting my business with lending, scaling it. If I can have consistent business weekly, that'd be so amazing to where I would need a team would be great. That would be my vision for like the next 3 years. And then as far as five, I would love to like partner up with people and purchase businesses is definitely something I would love to do.
That's awesome because there's plenty of people in our community that are very business minded. I actually I heard it from someone I guess I spoke to recently was because I'm a buy and holder and I'm now focusing on the workforce community, like 30
Mhm.
to $60,000 range, and create co-living opportunities. So I was hearing from a good friend of mine. They were telling me that Benjamin Huang, hope I'm saying your
Oh
name
yeah.
right, and Colin Yep, they're buying businesses and they're trying to merge it where people who have co-living properties, they're trying to merge it where they have businesses, I guess, nearby. I hope
Mhm.
and they can actually work in these establishments as well. So I was like, wow, that's a
That's
great
awesome.
model. That's a
Yeah.
great model because some of us, so many of us in the community are focused in that specific lane.
Mhm.
So he has the pickings to be able to create and execute on those ideas.
No, definitely. I think it's great, right, to have those kind of connections, and it makes it just a few steps easier than to have to start from scratch or by doing it yourself or doing it with people that may not really know. And so I think that's one of the great things and what's really powerful about our community is that whether I want to buy businesses, I can reach out, hey Mando, do you know anyone? And you can help me or direct me to the right person. Or if you say, hey, I'm interested in co-living or I'm interested in Section 8, there's a lot of people that within the community that actually do that. So it's good to know.
Yeah, that's great. In your business, are you a solopreneur or do you have partners?
I,
How are you going
I
about
do
your
have,
business?
I do have two funding partners. Usually I fund myself, but if it's like a big funding that needs, then we collaborate and we split profits.
That's great to know. So if people want to reach out to you and make some connections and maybe create some opportunities with you on the lending side, how can they reach you?
Instagram, Brenda Builds Wealth. You can always send me a DM. I'm more than welcome to collaborate. If you have a lead, but you don't have money, I'm more than welcome to split my profits with you. Or if you have money and I need you for the next deal, I'm more than welcome to collaborate with you as well.
So make sure you guys to reach out to Brenda. Brenda's the woman. Let's get some deals done with her. She's awesome. She's going to be a powerhouse in our community. So don't miss an opportunity to reach out to her and engage with her. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Brenda, again, thank you for being on. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
All right. Bye bye.